Well, howdy, partners. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Mark's Days, Creative Differences, a monthly live stream where I talk to writer friends about those little things that make a big difference to their craft and careers, in the hope that we can give readers some insight to the creative process and writers and other creative folks some practical advice they can actually use. I'm Mark Stay, author, screenwriter, and podcaster. And if you're joining us live, feel free to ask questions in the comments and take part in the conversation. A big thank you, as always, to Dominic Curry for the jingle. Lovely spaghetti western. I've been waiting so long to use that jingle. Dom did that about a year ago. It's one of my favorites. So yes, let's meet our special guest. My guest is the author of the brutal yet strangely touching western Hot Lead, which blends a serial killer thriller with the Old West with a little sprinkle of horror as well. It is an extraordinary read from an amazing author who has reinvented himself. So we'll be talking gunslingers, pulp fiction, the category, not the movie, his brush with Hollywood and starting a new series, and much, much more. It's only that Elwood Flynn. He's wearing a hat.
It doesn't quite fit with the headphones on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Those kind of headphones weren't de rigueur during
Cowboys
the Old
had
West.
much smaller headphones.
Yeah, they had AirPods, didn't they? Yeah.
They did, yeah.
Right, to all you lovely folks joining us live, feel free to pop questions in the comments, and Emsky will ping them up on screen as well. Did I see someone from Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Milwaukee. Paul is here. Fantastic. Good to see you, Paul. Paul, some news coming from it. Rachel's here as well. Cooey, Rachel. Cooey, good to see you too. Now, Elwood, if that is indeed your name. Hot Lead, not Hot Lead, as I originally thought. It could have been about someone taking their dog for a walk, especially in this weather. Hot Lead. Now, what's interesting about this is an old school pulp fiction western, but the lead in this doesn't refer to bullets, and it provides what I think are both the most disturbing and touching scenes from the book. I don't want to get into spoilers and what happens, but tell us where this came from and just the whole switch to writing westerns.
It's funny that you call it a hot lead, because that's what my boss calls it, and he thought it was a book of sales tips.
Is it a Glengarry Glen Ross thing?
Yeah. So where did the idea come from? Basically, a long time ago, when I started reading the Jack Reacher books, I basically wanted to create a character that was an inch taller than Jack Reacher, because I kept hearing people say he was the biggest guy in fiction. So I just wanted to have a guy that was an inch taller, just to be a twat.
It's lovely that such pettiness can lead to such wonderful literature. I do love that. That's
exactly. And so I started writing a domestic thriller with this massive character, and he was a milkman, so he was in this tiny milk float, big guy. But I probably spent about a day on that and realized I couldn't dedicate an entire novel to just a wind up, so I sort of left it alone. And then a few years later, I was in Tesco, and on the charity bookshelf was this book, which is Riding High by Hank Madison. Right.
Wow, I love that cover.
It's great, isn't it? And I loved it too. And it's a short novella, pulpy western from the 70s, I think. And I'd never read it.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Did you say that was in Sainsbury's?
No, in Tesco, on the charity bookshelf.
Oh, I see. I was going to say, are they now putting pulp westerns in the Tesco book chart? Because something has gone seriously wrong.
So, 1983 it was published. And I never read a western. And so I read it. And every other paragraph, the main character narrows his eyes or grits his teeth or like tips his hat. It's the most corny, tropey, just western that you could imagine. And I loved it so much that I just wanted to write my own pulp western. And so then I thought, I've got this character, Robin Castle, just stick a cowboy hat on him and put him on a big horse and I'll write a western. And so that's what I did.
So were you, I mean, you look at the classic western authors like Louis L'Amour and people like that. Yeah. Were you a fan of them? Did you dig into them? Did you do a bit of it? Yeah.
So this was my only knowledge of westerns then.
Yeah.
And so I started writing a book called Hell's Ridge. and realized very quickly that I didn't know anything about the genre, like not enough to write a book. And so I read loads of Louis L'Amour books, loads of Max Brand books, and as many westerns as I could get my hands on, and watched a bunch of films, researched the era a ton, because it turns out I don't know anything about how things worked back then. And so I read enough and I learned enough, and then I eventually, it took about a year. I thought I could probably knock one out in a few months, and it took over a year to write the first book.
Right. I mean, it's that thing of a little knowledge might be a dangerous thing, but in this case, you went in sort of knowing that all of your assumptions were wrong, so you sort of started from the ground up.
Exactly.
What was your was it just reading the books? Were you going into the history? Were you watching the movies? What was the process? What were the best sources for this?
Everything. I was watching the movies. I was finding YouTube channels about it, about the era and about the genre, and mostly just reading westerns, which have just turned out to be crazily entertaining and way more varied than I think people realise. Yeah.
I mean, the western is. I guess it's the most recent mythology we have, isn't it? In that it's classic American invention.
Yeah.
It's a place where pretty much anything can happen. Where you've got new civilizations cropping up, you've got wars, you've got battles, you've got people finding themselves in the wilderness. It is there's a reason it's endured for so long. So what were the when you were doing that research? What were the assumptions? What were the things that were overturned? What were the big surprises in that research?
Firstly, the first big surprise was I thought the Wild West was a long time ago, and it wasn't really. I mean, Wyatt Earp, who's one of the most famous figures from the Wild West mythology, who's the gunfight in the OK Corral. That was Wyatt Earp. He was alive long enough to see Hollywood make films about his life. He met John Wayne. It wasn't that long ago. Like Geronimo was alive. It's just all these characters from the Wild West were alive well into like the 1900s. In my mind it was just old history, because in Europe we're used to history being old, but of course it's American history, so it's not that long ago.
Yeah. Let's talk about your there's a note from Rachel there. Many westerns don the bookshelves. Yes. That's research, isn't it? And it's all tax deductible. Now, your villain in this, Kyle, we've talked about Robin Castle, who is this, monolith of a man, man of few words, but an honourable man who, I don't want to say too much early on, but there's a tragedy very early on in the story that befalls him. And then you got your villain in this, who is, let's not mince words, he's a brutal psychopath. There are hints of necrophilia. And yet you seem like such a nice chap, Elwood. Where does this come from?
I don't know. I'm genuinely a really nice person, I promise. I mean, you've known me a while.
I can testify. Yeah, that's true. It's absolutely true.
I'm a nice person, and I don't even like real life violence. I don't like it at all. I don't like seeing it in videos. No. I just don't like it. But when it comes to writing fiction, I don't know what happens to me. And I genuinely thought the violence in Hot Lead was sort of like, it was okay. It was no worse than what Stephen King does in his like gunslinger sort of Dark Tower westerns. But I think I accidentally wrote something far worse that's upsetting people. And I don't know how that happened. And it was an accident. And I'm sorry, everyone.
No, don't apologize. Do not apologize for it. It's the thing that becomes the USP for the book for me, because like I said, I've read Blood Meridian, Cormac, McCarthy, I've read Stephen King, I've read horror, and I think the thing that is your background, and we'll talk about that more in a minute, is writing horror. And the murders in here are the kind of thing you would find in a horror or a serial killer thriller or what have you, and they happen to innocents, and it's truly shocking. But you do, I've got it here on your mug. Here it says here on the mug, Elwood Flynn's solemn promise. Exactly. This book will contain scenes of extreme violence in big capital letters, themes of loss and vengeance, and it really does hit home. And it is a revenge thriller in a very, very brutal time. So it was truly shocking. And I think it is so difficult to shock people today, I think that's, I salute you for it. It's and I really hope you haven't dialed it back for the next ones.
I haven't. If Rachel thinks the second book is worse for violence. And I was trying to be good, but there's more people are killed. I would say it's less, how can I put this without spoiling anything, melty and more...
Not while I'm drinking. We're joined by Dan Bone tonight, who's left a comment. I read
excellent.
Red Hills Justice last night, and I can't wait to dive into Hot Lead when I can. What's Red Hills Justice? That's Justice. The short story, isn't it?
It's a short story that you get for free when you sign up to my newsletter, which Dan did recently.
Brilliant, thanks, Dan. Yeah. So, is that a prequel to it, or is it a? Sequel?
It just happens at some point on his journey. I think it's once he's established in the Wild West, but I haven't. It's just a standalone little story of Robin Castle coming across some cowboys who are up to no good.
Brilliant, because he does spend the middle of the novel. He goes, because we start in New York City.
Yeah.
That's where the crimes are committed. Then your killer escapes to the west, and Robin gets on his most faithful steed and crosses the west. So, and of course, you're right. There's many encounters along the way. So, is that going to be a rich source of short stories and cycles?
There are going to be short stories. I specifically didn't want Robin Castle to have like the sort of usual encounters you would expect in a Western when he's on this journey, because he's not like a killer at that point, and he's not wanting to go and bust heads or like find trouble and all that stuff. He just wants to take his revenge on Carl Eaton. But sort of, and what he becomes at the end of that book, and when we meet Robin Castle in book 2 in Alias Hicks, he's sort of a changed man, and from then on, that's when he starts getting into more situations more frequently. Right. I didn't want his journey to be a series of like, threats.
Yeah. Now, Rachel, who is your good lady life partner, said here, no, it's a good book. It's the violence that worse. So the violence is worse.
Yeah, she thinks it's she thinks it's better than Hot Lead, but she thinks the violence. I've turned up the volume. There's more violence.
Excellent. Now, just to say, Rachel has given me much grief over the years for something that happens to a character in the first End of Magic book there. I don't want to hear anything again, Rachel, about what I did to that particular character, not after reading this book, because you've sanctioned this. This is the amount of grief.
That instant in the End of Magic came up after she read Alias 6 and she fed back to me. She was as mad at me, I think, about something I did in that.
Good. We share something here then, Elwood. Rachel says black armband still on.
She won't let that go.
No, it's yeah. Now, this is you mentioned that Castle rides across the USA. Which, and I'm looking at that and I'm looking at the locations, and it's clear you've done some, research into this. Now, the last time you had a journey, which was a script, and we'll talk about scripts and films later on, you had a car chase going through London, and you actually got in a car and went through London in the middle of the night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So did you drive across America? Did you get on a horse?
No, I wish. If I could have, I would have. But what I did do, I found a book by it's called The Lady Long Rider, and long riding is something that people in America still do, where they ride ocean to ocean on horseback.
Wow!
And this lady, she did it from Montana, I think, to New Mexico. It says somewhere, and it's really just a great read, and it was so full of information of just what that's like today. So like it's modern times, but it taught me that it's possible for a start.
Yeah,
that book. Because I wasn't sure if it was when I had the idea.
Right, so that's it. So you had the idea first, and then you went looking for solutions to it. It wasn't the book that inspired the journey. Okay.
No.
Okay. Now this is an origin story. This, as you know, this is Robin's first story. We're seeing him turn from this New York lawman to someone who's out in the Wild West.
Yeah,
that's an origin story.
Yep.
What were the challenges of that? Was there anything in that you were thinking, oh, I wish I could jump straight to so and so, you know, or was it as you envisioned it?
It's sort of as I envisioned it, because I originally wrote a book called Hell's Ridge, and that was going to be the first book. And I wrote the whole book, and as I was writing it, I learned about his backstory whilst I was writing about it, because he needed a drive. And so I was just writing a paragraph, and it said something about his wife and daughter. I'm not going to say anything more. And so then as I was writing that book, I sort of realized I needed to like start sooner. So I finished that book, and by the time I finished that book, I'd already had the whole idea for Hot Lead in my mind. It was all there. And there's something really fun about writing origin stories, because you get to like give them their guns and their pet horse and their tragedy, and you know what drives them. There's something I was going to say about it, and I forgot what it was. But yeah. So there's something that was on my mind that I really wanted to say, and it's gone.
Oh, what a shame. And we're live as well. Don't worry, no one notices. We'll cut that in the edit and make a time code thing. So listen, what I love about this as well is the gorgeous cover art. Who's the artist again for this?
It's C6 Sailor is what he goes by. He keeps his real name private, but he's amazing, and he does a lot of artwork for bands like The Coral and Kula Shaker, and he's a really great like in-demand artist, and I'm just so pleased that he's come on board to make these. I think he's just perfect. His style is perfect.
It is fantastic, but this wasn't the original cover, was it? There was a different cover originally.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, that I made myself. So originally I made 6 whole covers for the entire series, and they were fine, but I made them myself. And the reason we have these covers is because I wrote Hot Lead like 6 years ago. It was finished 6 years ago.
Really?
And I knew if I was going to release the Westerns, I needed to have at least 3 books written, and I wanted to like have good covers and like release them properly. And I wasn't ready. I don't think I was ready like for it. And so I kind of stopped writing fiction, and I wrote, you know, the Master Collector book, and I started working on screenplays, and then the whole nearly getting a film made happened. I say nearly, you know, and and I was just decided to focus on screenwriting. For some reason, I got obsessed with that instead of book writing. And then the audiobook producer, a guy called Thomas Cassidy, who knew about the Westerns, was trying to convince me to let him produce the audiobooks. And I was like, I can't, they're not written. Because he did one of my early books, and he missed the opportunity to do Jack's Game. And it's like the one that got away for him. And he's been like, he's the one that made this happen, that one, yeah. And so in November, the film went up, it just fell apart. And so I was at a loose end, and Tom got back in touch, and he said, when are you releasing those Westerns? And I said, oh, I don't know. And he goes, listen, I will produce the audiobook, and I'll pay the female narrator, and I know this guy called Felix Sailor. Look at this artwork. Tell me you don't want to work with this guy. And I said, okay, let's do it. So it's all down to Thomas. He's the one that made all this happen. He got my arse into gear.
That's amazing. So if it wasn't for him, these would still be sitting on your laptop?
They would still be just in my laptop, yeah.
Wow.
I would be working on another script instead of writing fiction. And I'm so pleased, because I mean, this year, Alias Hicks, now because Tom sort of forced the issue, and I'm so grateful that he did, I had Hot Lead and I had Hell's Ridge. Hell's Ridge doesn't work as book 2. So I needed like an emotional sort of bridge between what the events of Hot Lead and then Hell's Ridge, which is just like a Western. And so I needed that bridge, that emotional bridge. And so I thought, panic mode, I need to write book 2. And so it took 15 weeks, and I thought, okay, I have an idea. And I forced my brain to have an idea. And I had an idea, and it was a really good idea. And I just wrote it, just chapter by chapter. It just came out. And I wish I wish every book was that easy because
I was going to say, if only they were all that easy. That's amazing. But going back to the cover, what I meant was the design. You know, the pose of our hero on the cover of that was a bit different, wasn't it? You had to change it for a very specific reason.
Because it was him with his gun facing the reader like this. And Amazon and Facebook, if you want to advertise a book, they don't like their audience looking down the barrel of a gun because they think it's threatening, and it was meant to be threatening. But so we took that image and we put it on the back cover instead. So that's
yes, there it is. Oh, I'm so threatened.
Exactly. That's what would have been on the front, but Amazon and Facebook, their ads, they won't let you advertise a book with a gun facing you.
That's fair enough. That's probably why all the James Bond estate has changed all their covers as well.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned book 2 briefly there.
Yeah.
How is book 2 shaping up? It's coming soon, isn't it?
It's coming the 30th of July. It's with beta readers now.
Right.
Yes, it's coming soon. I'm in panic mode because there's a lot to do and no time to do it. Like the Kindle version, it's up for pre-order on Kindle, but the paperback isn't ready. Nothing is ready. I mean, it will be ready. It will be. Now,
Got something very exciting and exclusive here as well. I've got the cover art for the next one. Can we do a little cover art reveal?
Yep.
Fantastic. Drum roll, please.
Drum roll.
Oh, right. What is going on here? We've got someone's been shot and they're sort of falling backwards. We've got Robin there looking moody, and we got a trio of women tied up, and one of them has a stick of dynamite in her mouth that's been lit. That's yes.
And do you see the little black silhouette between the guy who's been shot and Robin Castle?
Yeah.
That's a doll with coins for eyes.
Right. Okay.
That the villain stitched together himself.
Oh my god!
And it's covered in bloodstains.
See, this props up my theory, which is people who write horror and write really sick and disturbing stuff are the nicest people you'll meet.
Stephen King's a really nice person, isn't he?
He's a lovely man. Joe Hill is delightful.
You know Joe, don't you? He's the nice guy.
And you go to things like Fright Fest in London, the Sidges Film Festival, all horror fans. They're all just the nice. Same with goths as well. Absolute sweethearts, So yeah, this is, if you want. If GB Ralph is here tonight, yay! Delightfully grotesque, ha ha ha! Excellent, thank you. Yeah, Rachel Chapman, the dynamite open mouth emoji, kaboom! Yeah, it is a dynamite cover. Yeah, so it does. This is true. The people who do the sicker stuff, all that catharsis, it's all on the page, So it's a literary fiction authors you can't trust. They're the ones.
I know. Wrong-uns. Jesus Christ. I want to talk about wrong-uns in a minute. On the cover, quickly, I had to give the artist the funniest note that I've ever had to give anybody. Right. So the first version, the girls were covered up and they looked more like homesteaders, and they're meant to be.
Ladies of the night,
right?
Yes.
And so I sent them a message and I said, the girls, and I said, I don't know how to say this. Can you make them more prostitute-y?
I believe it's sex workery. That would be the.
Yeah. So he gave them cleavages. Okay.
Oh, dear.
That scene, the scene with the 3 girls in it is just horrendous.
Well, just seeing that on the cover, I cannot wait. I've got to read that.
Do you think the girls are going to survive?
I really hope so. I really, but I can see the sick expression on your face. Let's move on, shall we? Selling the book as well. You've done such an amazing. You did these limited edition packs, and I've opened mine and dispersed it everywhere. But mugs, and there were little coffee beans and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
That and very, very limited. You only had a few of them available.
Limited.
Was that a colossal pain in the bum, or was it worth it, or was it? Because you've done it again. You've done a second round, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got a few more. There's a few more left. It is a colossal pain in the arse, but it's worth it, because when I had the idea to do a reader box, I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to put all this stuff together and have it all ready and have it affordable, because it's expensive to get mugs made and stickers and bookmarks and buy the boxes and like get the coffee bags printed with, like, you know, with the coffee beans. So there is profit in it, but like it's just because I think it's really cool. That's the main reason that I did it. And the where it says Elwood Flynn, I think I've got a box. Oh yeah, hold on a minute. Under my desk. So the stenciling, I just had to print that off and get some paints and a sponge and hand dab it. So the reason it's limited is because it just takes ages, and I'm bad at painting.
Yeah, but it's the real deal. It's the real deal. I love it.
And fantastic. There's been a lot of authors saying that's a great idea, I want to do that.
Yeah. And then they think, oh no, I'd have to do it. I'm not going to do it now. Now, we've mentioned scripts, we've mentioned previous books. This is where I can reveal, sir, that your name is not Elwood Flynn. It is, what's it say here? Andrew Chapman.
Oh, everybody knows my secret.
Author of The Mask Collector and Jack's Game. Now, let's talk about your brush with Hollywood as well and what happened there, if you're willing to talk about that. Because I know, listen, mate, I've been there many, many times where you work on something for years. It's tantalizing. I'm not going to spoil it for people. What the hell happened?
I keep being teased by it. Have you watched any of Cape Fear on Apple TV?
Not yet, though. No,
we watched episode 4 whilst we were eating today. And it's produced by Scorsese and Spielberg, this show. And episode 4, it came up with, directed by Reed Morano. And I thought, there you are. You can, because she was the one who was meant to direct the film.
No way.
So that was cool. It's a great show. Yeah, I didn't realize that she had directed an episode.
Wow. With
Javier Bardem, who's amazing in it. But so what happened was I had written a script called The Mask Collector. Right. And one day, you've got the book version there. So that book exists because you were on the BXP podcast, you and Mark DeVoe, or I think Mark DeVoe said, has anybody ever tried to write a book in a day? So I thought, well, my birthday's coming up. I know what I'm doing on my birthday, sitting at my desk for 24 hours writing a book. And so...
And listeners, I'm going to put a link to that show in the show notes so you can we can catch up. You can get the whole story. It was insane. Really insane.
It was. But writing a whole book in a day is impossible. But I had a script already, so I adapted it from the script. So I had this script, The Mask Collector, and I uploaded it to the Blacklist, and it scored 9s and 10s across the board. Like amazing score.
Rightly so.
Right, because you read the first ever draft of it. So you're overly familiar with my level of violence, so Hot Lead shouldn't have surprised you at all, because that first draft was insane.
Yes, but that was like a serial killer in a bank heist kind of thing. I was kind of, this is going to be horses and cowboys like Clint Eastwood, not melty westerns. So anyway, carry on.
So so the premise of this film is a bank heist goes wrong when one of the hostages turns out to be a wanted serial killer. So it's Alien basically, but instead of being trapped in a spaceship, they're trapped in a bank, and instead of an alien, it's a serial killer.
It's a great concept. I love it.
Yeah, and so it got 9s and 10s across the board on the Blacklist, and then it got a really bad review, like 2s and 3s, and it was accused of being homophobic, which it 100% isn't. I think something got lost in translation with an American. I'm very much the opposite of homophobic. And so I took it down because I was afraid my career was going to be destroyed. And so I took that down. And so it was impossible for anybody who had read it to get in touch with me because I'd removed it. And then one day, about 6 months later, I get an email saying, are you the Andrew Chapman who wrote The Mask Collector, Reed Morano? And I said, are you the Emmy award-winning Reed Morano who directed The Handmaid's Tale? And she went, yes, I am her. And she goes, I'm in Soho next week. Do you want to meet for breakfast? And so I was like, and the idea of the meeting was just to see if we could work together creatively, if we got on, basically, because she already loved the script. And so we met in Soho, and we just spoke for an hour, and we had breakfast, and this place they'd closed, but she had somehow convinced them to let us stay, because I don't know how Hollywood people, they have their ways. And so we worked together for about did about a year of rewrites on the script because she doesn't like the violence, and it was very, very on-screen violent. And so I sort of took all the gore off screen, made it more into a dark comedy, and added a bit more heart. Right. So we got all of this. We got the film into really good shape. I finally handed in the final script, and we ended the call. And she rang me up and she said, "Tell me to. Can I swear?"
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yes.
She said, "Andy, tell me to fuck off, but are you able to put a car chase in this film?" To read the whole film is set inside a bank from beginning to end. Where am I going to put a car chase? She said, "Can we have a flash?" She said, "Can we have a flashback car chase?" So I was like, "I'll write a car chase for you." So that's when I drove to London, because I don't know London very well. So I thought, I'm going to drive to London at midnight with my daughter and my missus. We found a warehouse that we could rob, and we drove. That was near the Thames, right? And it was closed. It was by now it was like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And we drove into this industrial building, and I found the perfect warehouse to like that for my characters to rob, right? And then a security guard sort of came out, and so we turned around and we sped out of the industrial estate. And then I thought, okay, this is great. And so I drove towards Tower Bridge, and like Rachel was taking notes, and I was like, okay, when they get to Tower Bridge, it's going to be coming up, and they're going to jump over Tower Bridge. And you know, the idea was that they had just robbed an Amazon building. It was like a smash and grab, thinking that they could just like drive in, grab loads of Amazon stuff off the shelf, and then they'll see what they've got. And so they're opening the boxes, and it's just full of dildos. And so,
how has this film not been made?
I know. And so then when they jump Tower Bridge, like it goes into slow motion, and they all like rise up, and there's dildos go up around them. It was glorious. And so we raced, and there was like tuk-tuks all lit up around us. So tuk-tuks ended up in the car chase, and the whole route we planned. And I couldn't have written that car chase the way it was without doing that in real life, and it was really, really great fun. So long story short, I sent her the final script. She loved it, right? And Margot Hand, who was the producer, she loved it too, and we're off to the races. And then just suddenly, this is a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, it was like the industry just folded in on itself, and nobody could get anything made. It just briefly became impossible, and loads of people got fired. Everybody in the industry was like struggling to get anything made off the ground, including Reed and Scorsese and all those guys. And you know, and it just after about a year, I think Reed was so fed up. She rang me and she said, "Like, I feel like I'm just holding your script hostage, and it's too good and it needs to get made." So I don't want to speak for her, but she basically just had enough of Hollywood. Right. And so we parted ways, but we're still friends. We spoke recently. Everything's like, well, she did an interview. My daughter's at film school, and my daughter interviewed her for like one of her like things. And so like where everything's fine, but it's just the script is back in my hands now, and I don't know what to do with it. So if there's any directors watching, get in touch.
Well, let's talk afterwards. Right. Now you did this car chase thing at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
When did the raid take place in the story? Was it 2 a.m?
No, it was the same time.
Oh, good. That's right. I was going to say, you try and cross Tower Bridge during the day, you got no bloody chance. You know.
Do you know what's annoying about trying to like race around London at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning? It's all 20 miles an hour, and it's crazily busy even at 3 a.m.
Yeah, it is. It never sleeps. It genuinely never sleeps. It's Do you know the Western connection to Tower Bridge in movies?
No. The Western connection to Tower Bridge in the movies. No.
Very tenuous. Who's the greatest? Well, probably the best, apart from Clint Eastwood. Who's the best known Western star of all time?
John
Wayne. He made a movie in the 70s called Brannigan, which was set in London in the 70s, and it has a car chase in it where, is it a bus or is it a car? One of them goes over Tower Bridge as it's opening up.
Really?
Yeah, and
someone.
No, well, it's a great idea. It'd be better if it was a milk float, as per your original. But someone Claire and I worked on that film. There's an Irish actor called Declan Mulholland, who was the original Jabba the Hutt. He was the big Irish guy who played Jabba.
Yeah,
and he worked on Brannigan. and he hated it because Deck was a proper old school lefty socialist, and John Wayne was John Wayne, and John Wayne apparently kept replacing British crew with his own people, and none of them really got on with him. But at the end, everyone got a belt buckle from John Wayne, and he threw it away. And we're like, Deck, they're going to be worth a fortune, but no, he wasn't having it. So yeah.
If you're a fan of westerns,
off the tangent.
If you're a fan of westerns, you've got to sort of like you've got to really look past like the people's beliefs who are like. I want to talk to you about this. Is sort of tangentially related. Somebody recommended this book to me.
The Outlaw Josie
Wells, right? It was a Clint Eastwood film.
Yeah, of course.
And it was written by Forrest Carter, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to I wanted to talk to you about this because I really want to read this book, and I'm sort of a bit torn because. Sorry, I know this is super entertaining for listeners, but 2 seconds.
Man looks at book live on YouTube.
So the Forrest Carter, the author's real name is Asa Earl Carter, right? He was a segregationist and a Ku Klux Klan member, right? And he wrote a series of books called Segregation Now, Segregation Tomorrow, and Segregation Forever, right? He was a bastard. And when he wrote this book, because people didn't really have access to information back then, nobody knew that Forrest Carter was Asa Earl Carter. And he claimed that Forrest Carter was a Native American. Right? This guy's insane. And he refused to admit that he was who he was in interviews. So I really want to read this book. I've heard it's really violent and really good, but I'm torn. And I think I worry sometimes about writing westerns because of John Wayne's beliefs, and it's quite a conservative genre in America. Whereas spaghetti westerns, they snuck in themes about communism and whatever they were dealing with there. And so I kind of think because I write westerns, do people just think I'm like a hard right sort of? Do you know what I mean? I do. When the opposite is true. So it's a really tricky sort of genre, I think.
Well, it's a genre, but certainly in the late 70s, 80s with the Costner movies as well. Films like Unforgiven, where they become these what they called revisionist westerns, for want of a better phrase.
Yes,
where they frankly had a more human, three-dimensional take on the characters. So it became less. You take that mythology and you turn it into something that feels more real. So I think that's a sign of a healthy genre that can stand up. I mean, the same things happened in fantasy. You look at fantasy, you had all those iconic mythological archetypes who are all a bit two-dimensional, frankly. And then you get someone like George R. R. Martin and Joe Abercrombie come along, and Scott Lynch, who make them into living, breathing people that you can really believe in.
Exactly.
So,
and it's the creators themselves. I really like Orson Scott Card's sci-fi books. What are they called?
Ender's Game.
Ender's Game.
Yeah,
and then I found he was a nutter.
Is he dead yet? I just wonder if we can slander people who are still alive. Can you look at Orson Scott Card on Wikipedia, please, Emily? I think at that point we're going to take a little break. And we're going to go to a commercial break. One moment, folks. Let's talk about the Green Room, which is backstage for writers. This is where twice a month, 3 times a month at the moment, actually, I run live sessions on Zoom where you writers can ask me questions about the craft of writing, your work in progress, the business of publishing. The sessions are formal, informal, chatty, fun. You send me questions in advance. They're recorded live. They're saved on Ko-fi. It's all done through Ko-fi for exclusive access for Green Room supporters. There's a link there at the bottom, and I've got some QR codes somewhere as well, something like that. There we go. There's the QR code for the Green Room up in the corner there. It's £20 a month. There's no long-term, commitment. You can just dip in for 1 month if you want. We got some special guests coming on in the Green Room in the next couple of months as well. Authors who are much more successful than me who can talk about the sort of brilliant stuff that they've been doing. So my goal is to be able to give supporters advice that will make a real difference to their writing and career. Because the way I see it, having worked in this industry as a salesperson, bookseller, author, screenwriter for over 30 years, I've made every mistake, so you don't have to. So pop along to the Green Room there with the link there. And also, I've got books and you can buy them. So we've got the Witches of Woodville series there. If you pop along to the Witches of Woodville online store there, and also you can go to the library too and get books from me. I will sign them and pop them in the post. Now I've got as well as the Witches of Woodville, I've got the End of Magic trilogy, which I'm excited to confirm now is coming on audiobook. So at the end of June, we've got the End of Magic coming on audiobook. It's narrated by Dan Callies, coming on 30th of June. And then at the end of July, we've got the End of Dragons. And at the end of August, we've got the End of Gods. All three are available for pre-order wherever you get your audiobooks now. So get your orders in right now. I was hoping to have the cover art ready, but wisely, they're still using Alejandro Colucci's art there, which is just amazing. So it's the same as that, but, square. So do check those out. Right, let's get back to the show. Emily, what's the word on Orson Scott Card?
He's still alive.
He's still alive. What a lovely man he is.
Gentleman. He's a fine
and a scholar.
And you know what?
No, I think it's okay to have an opinion about someone, but he's got opinions which some might find strident. Let's say that. Right.
His books are good. That's what I mean. His books are good. And
but this, there's a whole debate of separating the art from the artist as well.
Exactly.
There's we've been for another podcast. I do appear on another podcast. We've been reading the Lando Calrissian spin-off books from the early 80s. And the guy who wrote that was a libertarian and like won awards for being America's biggest libertarian, which was kind of unfashionable now they're running the states, so it's that kind of hardcore Republican thing, but the books are quite fun. So it's
so do I read The Outlaw Josie Wells? Are you saying I should?
I think you should, because know your enemy and all that kind of stuff.
You know what, I know my own mind. I'm not going to be influenced by, I'm not going to suddenly become a raging Nazi because I read a cowboy book.
You heard it here first, folks. Right, let's get on to my regular questions that I ask all of my guests. So let's start with, what small thing has made a big difference to your creative process?
Is it a small thing or a big thing? Because I quit drinking alcohol.
Right.
This is alcohol-free ale, which I'm just drinking because it's cold and it's too late to drink Pepsi. So I quit drinking alcohol on the 4th of December last year.
Brilliant.
And I started drinking when I was 14 and drank pretty much every day until the 4th of December last year. And I just quit cold turkey. And I thought, if I can quit drinking when Christmas and New Year's and all that stuff, then I can easily make it through the rest of the year. And it proved to be true. So I quit drinking and my productivity just went through the roof. So I wasn't, that genuinely I was able to build the website, build the mailing list, build the business, write a whole book, get all of this, because it's such a big, complex and challenging thing to release a book series properly. It's a lot of work. And I don't think I would have been able to. I think that's why the books weren't released earlier, because I was too busy being hungover or drunk.
It's interesting you say it, because I started drinking when I was 14, but I stopped when I was 15. And I kind of, but Mike Shackles just popped up here. Hello, Mike. How are you? Mike says I gave up nearly 2 years ago. And I think it does. One of the reasons John Wright likes working with me, he said, it's nice to work with a screenwriter who's not hungover all the time, because, we'll have a script meeting or whatever, and I'll have pages to him the next day by 10 o'clock. And he's like, most writers I know aren't up by 10 o'clock, so it's I think there's this myth as well. You have to be the tortured artist who's either a drunk or a drug addict or something, but actually having a clear, sober head makes a hell of a difference.
I wrote my first book listening to blues music and rock and roll and drinking whiskey out of a glass and smoking rolled up cigarettes and writing at 2 a.m. when I had to be at work at 8 a.m. And I wrote a book called Tripping the Night Fantastic that was about a writer who was a drinker. And, it was first book syndrome, basically. But it's just, that's not it, is it?
Well, that's I think that is a big thing, and I salute you for it, because it's not easy either. I've had I've had drinkers in my family, and it can ruin your life. So
I think the problem was because I wasn't a problem drinker. I don't really change. I don't know. I wasn't problematic, and so nobody really minded.
That was the thing that frightened me, is that, you know, I had a couple of uncles who were alcoholics, and frankly, it killed them in the end. It got to them in the end. And when I was drinking when I was 14, I was, you know, I get drunk, but again, it didn't really affect me. And I was thinking, oh, this is how it happens, isn't it? This is, you know, you become that kind of thing of a functioning alcoholic. And yeah, I think it's one of the best decisions I made as well. So yeah.
And the problem is, drinking and smoking is cool, kids. So I'm less cool now.
Right, on to the next question. Honestly, what's the thing that makes you think you're ready to start writing on a project?
That the pre-order date, I always set an early pre-order date. Did you say when I get started or when I finish?
Yeah, we'll start writing. Yeah.
Oh, when I'm ready to start writing. Okay. So my process is that I have an idea for a story, and then I tell Rachel and my daughter all about it all the time until they're sick of hearing about it, because it just helps me to if I'm telling people the story, it sort of grows. And I used to work with my dad a lot, and so he would have to listen to all my stories. And basically, I just, when I have a really, really solid opening chapter, when I have a really good opening, when I know how it begins, and I sort of know the end, and I know like at least 2 good, really fun scenes, then I just go for it.
Brilliant.
So I don't really plan everything out. Weirdly, when I write scripts, I do plan more, but when I'm writing books, I don't plan at all.
Weirdly, I'm the same. And I think one of the things is with scripts, it's much more of a collaborative thing. So you kind of know at some point you might have to show it to someone.
And you have to justify your choices.
Yeah.
Whereas
with books, you can do things with that would, you know, appall the average person in the street.
Exactly.
Here's at the other end. How do you know when you're done?
So basically, if I'm releasing a book, I always set a pre-order up, because then otherwise I just won't finish it. And so basically it's finished when I'm out of time.
Wow, that's risky, man. That is risky. I'm glad you sobered up.
Yeah.
How do you remember that idea that you have at, say, 3 a.m?
I basically shove Rachel. I said, "Rachel, wake up!" And she keeps a quill next to her bed and some parchment. I say, "Rachel, take this down." And no, what I really do. So I live in a small 1-bedroom flat, and right now I'm in my bedroom. So I have a bed office, and my bed is, I'm going to slowly turn this, is over there, right?
Yeah.
And so I get out of bed very carefully, and my phone is plugged in over here. I get out, start bullet naked in the dark, and I try to walk across the room without banging my bollocks into the corner of my desk. And if I manage that successfully, I open the notes on my phone and I write down the funny bit of dialogue that I came up with in the night.
We've got Annika's joining us. Annika says, a writer's partner has to be some of the most patient people on the planet. I agree, Annika. As are the viewers and listeners of this podcast. That image implanted in our heads. What joy. Mike Sheckle says, too much.
You invited me on.
GP Ralph says, Elwood is a terrible influence. Right. Rachel, Andrew. Right, next question. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made in your writing career, apart from coming on this live stream?
I think
or slugging off Orson Scott Card.
Nobody will ever have me on a podcast again. I think my biggest mistake is not just doing it more seriously sooner. Like, I let years elapse between books, and that's my biggest regret. Is, you know, I'd write a book and then and not release it properly, and just like write a book and then just publish it. Once it's all like finished and edited and nice, I used to just like pick a day and just publish it and then tweet about it, and then I wouldn't write for like 2 years, or I would be so busy with work and I just don't. Years and years just go by where I hadn't written a thing, and that's my biggest regret. It's just not writing more sooner.
Well, you're still young. You're
I
still
am.
young. This plays up, but I know that feeling again. I know that feeling very well because I wasted many years acting. I want to keep writing. What's the best happy accident of your writing career?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to think about this one. Do you know what? I'm going to flatter you now. Coming across the BXP podcast.
Stop it.
Because it was like, it's such a good, just like, not just the podcast, but the community around it.
Yeah,
all of us authors,
yeah.
Even though that podcast is no longer around, I'm in a Facebook Messenger group with a bunch of them, and we all mostly slag you off, but also we
It's fine.
we don't. Of course we don't. We don't. We talk about writing, and it's great. And it's just that the encouragement from like the BXP group and just being among this group of people. It's just been. It was a happy accident finding that. You know what it was? I was really into Joe Hill, and I was just googling Joe Hill interviews, and your one popped up, and that's how I found the podcast.
Wow!
And it was a really good interview.
Yeah, he was great. He was terrific. Yeah. He was really good value. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. And I 100% agree. The best thing to come out of that podcast is the community, because I've got friends like yourself, who I would never have met otherwise, and make connections, and I've become a much better writer as a result. So
and it's like this. I've got it here. Elwood Flynn's Solemn Promise. Do you know how that came about? So it was back when everybody was talking about trigger warnings. That was a hot topic for a while.
Yes.
And I was talking.
No one seems to care now, do they?
I know. And I was like, I used to talk to Ian Sainsbury a lot on Zoom, and I told him about I haven't spoken to him in ages, but I told him that should I put a trigger warning at the beginning of one of the Westerns because it is quite violent, and he said, how about instead of a trigger warning, just make it a promise? So that was his idea.
Fantastic. He's a gentleman and a scholar, Mr. Sainsbury. We love him.
Yeah.
Steve says, funniest interview so far. Well done, guys. Thank you. And finally, out of our regular questions, is there a character or a story swirling around in your mind that you want to write, but you're not ready to write yet?
Yeah, there is. I recently got the bug for playwriting, like by accident, because I wrote a short film with these two actors came to me, said they liked my writing. They asked me to write a scene for them, and I wrote a short film. And a group of actors performed it live so that I could see how it sounded. And it was like, I enjoyed the experience of having actors on a stage, live performing my words so much. I was like, oh my God. And I love watching plays. Me and Rachel go to the theatre all the time. We have the National Theatre streaming channel. And so I just got the bug for writing plays. And I've got an idea for a full-length play that I'm just not ready to write because I'm not familiar enough with the genre. And I just read, I've got it. I can't remember if I sent you this, but I just read The Pillow Man by Martin McDonagh, who wrote Three Billboards.
Oh yeah.
Three Billboards, and and that play, I was like, oh, okay. The way he writes, I think I can. I'm not ready to do it yet, but that writing play is the one thing. It's sort of a new dream, but I would love to.
Yeah. No, I started out writing plays, and it's a great way to learn what works and what doesn't, because the audience is right there with you in the room. And if you really want to lose money, then go to the Edinburgh Festival. No. Emily, do we have any questions from the good people joining us today? Dawn Keat. Hello, Dawn. Thank you for joining us. Evening, both. Hope you're well. Can you explain pulpy Western? Is this a type of horror? So, yes, take it away. Take it away, sir.
So, something in the original, the first ever Westerns were dime novels. So there was I should have been prepared for this. So I can't remember the name of the guy, but basically, there was a craze for magazines there were short, thin magazines that had adventure stories, and there was my mind's got blank. I wish I had sort of prepped for this story, but basically, pulp is just the type of crappy paper that they used to use for these magazines because they were super cheap, super disposable, and writers would often write under lots of different pen names because they were just churning out these adventure stories, cowboy stories, army stories, all these different sort of stories. And it was just, they just called it pulp because it was disposable, basically. It's just rubbish paper. But it became that sort of like short, fast-paced, action-packed genre. I've explained that very badly, but basically.
No, I think you've done really well, and they're often paid by the word. These people as well. So
By the word, exactly.
Yeah. So it's but yeah, so the pulp is the kind of the cheap kind of paperback kind of thing that and the Western genre was just so incredibly popular, and it's a bit like. I mean, Westerns are still popular in the States, but over here less so. But it's like romance as well. That almost that Mills and Boone thing, where it's like you read one every couple of days or whatever, and you just devour, and you just enjoy and love that genre. So but yes, thanks for the question, Dawn. Appreciate that. Annika says, "Is that Marshall Grover?"
Who? Where? What?
Marshall Grover, who did the pulpy westerns. Does that ring a bell? That name?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. No worries. Right. Rachel Chapman says, "Do you have a muse? And if so, how amazing is she?"
Yes, I have a muse.
Very, very carefully. Anyone got any proper questions?
She is my muse.
Yes. She's very amusing. Jeff's here. Jeff White is here. Elwood, what does a fella have to do to get a character named after him in one of your books? And is it write a novel in 24 hours?
I think Jeff, there is a character named after Jeff in the short story I wrote for the Mischief. What was that book called? Mayhem. What was Steve's?
Steve, you're here. Story? Steve, tell us what it was called.
I've forgotten. We both had a story in it.
Yeah.
The Consequences.
Oh yes, Law of Consequences. Yes,
Law of Consequences. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, in fact, I think almost everybody in the BXB got name checked in that. But I think, Jeff, if you're happy for me to kill you in one of my books, I will.
Okay.
Law of Mischief.
That's it. And Jeff says, more seriously, how do you find moving between genres and mediums?
I really enjoy it. I don't know how people stick to just one.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Personally. Yeah. I just can't. Nobody reads one genre, nobody watches one genre, and I read across every genre, and and I love so many of them, and so yeah, it's easy. And the mediums have so many different. Writing a book is so different to writing a screenplay, and it's just they're both are very rewarding in different ways.
No, totally agree. Mike Shackle says, "Why did you choose to be known as Elwood Flynn?" Yeah, where did that name come from?
I wish I could remember. I remember Julian once presumed that it was a oh god,
this is Julian Barr.
Who is that dapper swashbuckling guy? It doesn't matter. I've forgotten his name.
Errol Flynn.
Errol Flynn. But
it was an Australian.
Yeah, it wasn't an illusion. I think Elwood is probably a reference to the Blues Brothers, and Flynn is probably a Tron reference.
Tron, right? Flynn's Arcade. Excellent.
I think it's a Blues Brothers Tron
crossover.
And you know what? I couldn't write a Western as Andrew Chapman. It's the least Western sounding name that I think you could come up with. So I have to, Elwood Flynn sounds like somebody that writes Westerns.
Yeah, very good. Any more questions then?
Yes, we do.
Rachel, you mentioned writing through grief. How cathartic was that for you? And also, you've got, is it in the front of the book? Yeah, you dedicate the book to your dad. So is that something you're happy to talk about?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, my dad died a couple of years ago, and whilst I was writing that book, actually, no, was it that one? I don't know. But with the Westerns, I do genuinely like use it to like get the. It really, really helps with the grief. When I was writing Alias Hicks, Rachel's brother Spike was really ill, and the second book deals with grief so even more in a way. It's like, even though it's in some ways the second book is more entertaining, more thrilling, there's more kills, but like it's got way more heart as well. And like I think if the first book grossed people out, the second book is going to make people cry, and then be sick because they're grossed out. But it's
neat trick if you can pull it off.
I genuinely like one of my ways of dealing with Spike passing when he did pass was just getting it all out in the westerns, and I do use the westerns to like get rid of like the anger that you feel about that. So they are violent because like I am angry about things, and I'm not going to go and take it out on friends and family. So I get Robin Castle to take it out on people for me. So it does have a. I think I'm more sane because I write horrible violence.
Yeah, no, I'm again. I feel like I'm the same. And in the middle of the first book as well, Hot Lead. He's literally in the wilderness, you know. And that did strike me as a big kind of metaphor for grief, and you know, because he's dealing with it. Yeah, that's powerful stuff. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. Any more questions, Em? Andrew Guile says, what book have you read most recently that you wish you had written? Good one. Thanks, Andrew.
Oh, that is a good question. Andy Weir's Hail Mary.
Right.
I don't have the kind of brain that can write like Andy Weir.
Yeah.
And like I would never have that. And there's something I think so clever about his books. I wish I could write like that.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I can enjoy them in the knowledge that I'll never have to write one.
yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Any more questions, Em?
One
more. Thomas is here. It's the biscuit question. What biscuit as an author would you recommend? Thank you, Thomas. We've missed you.
Okay. I have a favourite biscuit, but it's not my answer. The Foxes, the round gold ones with like the cream inside. I can't even remember what they're called. They're probably called round cream things. Fox's Crunch cream. Right. That's my favourite biscuit, but that's not my answer. So this is, I don't know does a penguin count as a biscuit?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
So if you haven't tried this, Rachel's mum taught me this, and now I can't have a cup of tea or a penguin without doing this, right? So you get a penguin, right, and you nibble opposing corners off, right, and then you dip it in your hot tea and suck the tea into the penguin, right?
Like a Tim Tam.
And then eat the penguin, and it's amazing.
That's extraordinary. Thomas says, good choice. Yeah, that's one of the best answers we've had. Brilliant. Thank you for sharing. GB Ralph says, sounds like a Tim Tam slam. Tim Tams are the inferior Australian version of penguins.
The double chocolate Tim Tams are amazing.
They are good. Yeah, I used to get them a lot when I worked at Orion. We had lots of Australian staff there, and they get very excited about Tim Tams. You go, they're just penguins, and then they beat you to death with them. So yeah. Any more questions, Em? Is that it? We're done. That's it. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Right, we're getting to the fun part of the show. Finish line is in sight. What's bringing you joy at the moment, Elwood?
The Ed McBain books. The books of Ed McBain. Have you read any of these books?
Not for about 30 years. I read a couple of them years ago when I was first a bookseller. And I remember really enjoying it. And they're quite pulpy as well, aren't they?
They're so fun. So there's 55 books in the series.
Yeah.
Me and Rachel both started reading them. I started on book 17 and she started on book 1 because she's smarter than me. But I just happened to have book 17 on my bookshelf and I just picked it up and read it and I just couldn't believe how good it was. It's totally brilliant.
Fantastic. And we mentioned Cape Fear earlier. You're digging into Cape Fear.
I am. Just Javier Bardem is just so captivating. It just makes me want to watch everything he's ever been in. Yeah,
he's great. He's excellent. And you also mentioned the film, The Last Waltz.
Are you familiar with this band or this film at all?
Oh, I know that. Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing, and it's kind of it came at a time when you had, the big prog bands were out there and punk was just beginning to happen. And you had this band that looked like a bunch of, I don't know, cowboys or farmers.
For people that don't know, when Dylan went electric, these were his band on stage.
Yeah, this was his band. Yeah,
and so then they went off alone, and they had this amazing musical career. People don't seem to know who they are. And The Lost Waltz was, all of them were addicted to heroin, basically. And they said, look, whilst we're still able to, let's do one last amazing gig. And everybody came on stage with them. And Bob Dylan was there and Neil Young. and Ronnie Hawkins and all of these amazing people. And the amount of times me and Rachel just put it on and just watched the whole thing, it just brings me, it's such a joyous, if there's one gig I could go back to, this would be the gig. I wish I'd been there. And it's directed by Martin Scorsese, and the whole story behind the making of it and the film itself is just amazing.
Yeah, no, it is brilliant. And you got songs like, I'm looking at the list Up on Cripple Creek and stuff like that, which are, you know, they're Western songs, aren't they? You know, they're, it's, yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, that's so the person who just commented, when I paint my masterpiece, that's Tom. That's the audiobook producer who got me releasing these Westerns. Look how handsome that little fucker is.
Welcome, Tom. Thank you for making this happen. Thank you so much.
Oh, the What Went Wrong podcast. Have you ever listened to this? So
I've not, and the thing is, I looked it up and I thought, oh great, just what I need, another bloody podcast that I have to listen to. It sounds really good.
Like it's crack for film lovers. It's so good, and it's called What Went Wrong, and it's essentially about the troubled making. It's just every film that gets made is a miracle, and it's just about all of the calamities that go on with films, but it's a celebration of film, really. It's not, you know, it's great. It's just brilliant.
Excellent, brilliant. Thank you for sharing those. I'm going to quickly run through the things that are giving me joy this month. Now, Saga, oh my god, by Brian K. Vaughan and illustrated by Fiona Staples. This is probably the best graphic novel I've ever read. The whole series, up to volume 4 now, we're only 2/3 of the way through it. It's basically X-rated Star Wars. And talked earlier about the book you wish you'd written. It's just genius, absolute genius, and emotional, incredibly violent, lots of sex as well, just amazing. Highly recommend. And they come out now, you know, you get the trade paperbacks and they get collected albums, and then I give the trade paperbacks to Emily, don't I? Yeah, so one of the best things ever.
Great. I've not read that. I love graphic novels, and I have a slightly enormous comic book collection, so I haven't read that yet though. So
good. Oh mate, you'll love it. It's so good. It's so good. The other thing bringing me joy, I finally figured out how to play Blackbird, the Beatles song. The Paul
McCartney
God,
song.
So it's one of those things. It's one of the things I've wanted to learn for ages. And just about a month ago, I thought, sorry, I'm going to do it. And I did it. And I found a guy on YouTube who showed you how to play it, and I learned how to play it. And the video was from like 10 years ago. And what's happened since is McCartney's come out and said, yeah, you're playing it all wrong.
I know. I was on that same track as you, and I thought, oh God, everybody's been doing it wrong.
and he's right, because and you listen to it, you think, actually, yeah, that bass line is all wrong. And because of a tab book, which I've got as well, you know, a tablature book. So I had to relearn it like the same week. And it is a bit more fiddly. There are a couple of changes that are a bit more fiddly, but I've learned that too. So hopefully, Mr. McCartney, you're happy. And the final thing that's bringing me joy is for Father's Day. The kids got me a flip chart. I had a flip chart, which my wife then purloined for her own business reasons, because she's very busy and she puts a whole month up on the flip chart. So it's quite handy, because I'm actually working on edits at the moment and just jotting ideas down. So thank you very much for that, my lovely children. Right, let's talk about where I'm going to be for the next month. I love Comic-Cons. I'm going to be doing lots of Comic-Cons as well. I'm going to be at on 27th of June, I'm going to be at Basildon at the Comic-Con there, and then on the 18th of July I'm going to be at Watford, which is going to be lots of fun. And then one of the big ones for August is the Canterbury Gaming Convention, 15th and 16th of August. We're going to have a lovely corner for authors. It's going to be absolutely. I did it last year. I had one of the best days of the year last year, and the guys running it said we had such good feedback by having a couple of authors there that they want more. So they're going to have more. We're going to be doing panels, and we're going to be playing games, and that is the one to check out. So for more details, pop over to Mark Stay Writes. I've got a diary and appearances page there as well. Listen, we're going to wrap things up, folks. I really hope you've enjoyed this live stream of Creative Differences. You'll find all the links we discussed in the show notes for this episode if you're listening back. And if you go to the webpage, markstaycreativedifferences.com, you'll find all the past episodes there as well. A huge thanks to Emily for your production assistance, to Kai Newton for the edit, and to Dominic Curry for the jingle. Jeff White says, such an enjoyable interview, chaps. Thank you. I shall forever refer to an idea so good that I jump out of bed to write it down without appropriate caution as a bollock basher. Brilliant, Jeff. You've added something to the lexicon. Thomas says, thank you for a lovely cast. Well, look, there's more coming, folks. There's more coming. Now, next month's special guest on Monday, 20th of July, 8 p.m. British Summertime, is Tim Sullivan, author of the brilliant D.S. George Cross series. But Tim has also had an extraordinary career as a director and screenwriter. He worked on episodes of Jeremy Brett's Sherlock Holmes. He's worked with Derek Jarman. He worked on Coronation Street, wrote and directed the movie Jack and Sarah. He did the last episode of Cold Feet, but he also worked on things like Flushed Away, Shrek, My Little Pony. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Emily just turned around, eyes agog. I've been lucky enough to chat to him before for the previous podcast, Bestseller Experiment. And when his publicist dropped me a line, I could not say yes fast enough. He's an inspiration to writers everywhere as well. So don't miss it. He's brilliant. Monday, 20th of July, 8 p.m. British Summertime. And if you've enjoyed this, things like ratings, reviews, shares, all of those really, really help. But more importantly, if you can just tell one person about this podcast and how you enjoyed it tonight, that word of mouth thing it's just the best. So do please stop people, random strangers in the street, tell them that you had a good time here. And a huge thanks to Elwood, Andrew. I'm going to call you Andrew. Andrew, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. You've been absolutely brilliant. And to all the people who joined us tonight, it's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. Until next time, happy writing, happy reading, and being different. And now wave at the children's TV show.